I'm live. This morning I'm doing a video on why being vulnerable is awesome, and I'm not prepared. I'm super vulnerable and I'm just gonna go with the flow. So, why is it awesome to be vulnerable? Because you get to express who you truly are, like who you really are in your heart. Um, you let down all these barriers that we've had for so long to protect ourselves so that we don't get hurt or whatever we perceive will happen to us if we let down our barriers. Um, but yes, so what are we scared of? What are we protecting ourselves from? And I think a lot of this is from in the past. We may have been hurt um, when we showed ourselves. Maybe someone told us we weren't good enough, or maybe we felt that we weren't good enough. So we've put up all these barriers around ourselves, and I lived my life like that for a very, very long way, where um, you know I didn't even want anyone near my space because I was trying to just build this kind of I don't know, this invisible protective wall around me so that I could stay safe. And I was like that for a very long time, and over the last few years, I realized that that didn't serve me anymore. I used to do sales management, and it was always really fun. And then I kind of changed, and I think it was because some of the staff used to pretend they were my friends so they could get what they needed, and then behind my back they were something different. And then I started to realize this, so I started to put up all these walls uh, because I realized what people were doing. Whereas if I would have just stayed myself and not worried about what other people cared about, does it really matter? Like, not everybody's gonna like you. That's just the way it is. And everybody, it's the beauty of freedom, hey? Can't like everyone. Well, you can if you really want, but some people would just kind of trigger you or annoy you a little bit, so you don't want to be around them. So anyways, enough rambling. Um, Once you become vulnerable, yes, you're gonna have people that you thought were gonna be there for you forever, or and people that you would really think you have your back, and they may not. Okay. However, there'll be people that you never ever thought would come and support you and be there for you when you're being vulnerable. And yeah, being vulnerable is challenging. Yeah, it is. It's you're gonna have moments of just that you're gonna cry. Okay, crying's not bad. It's releasing things in your body that don't need to be there anymore. You might have moments just like curled in a ball going, this is too hard to be vulnerable, I must put the walls back up. And you'll fight, like your ego will fight um, to the death. Because, as I said, we feel like we need to protect ourselves. But it's not really I don't know, it's not serving me anymore to protect myself, because I am who I am. And I want to share that with the world, and I'm ready to share the true me, the true Nicholas. So I used to actually even call myself Nick because I was embarrassed by my name, Nicholas. Um, but now, over the last couple of years, I started calling myself Nicholas again because that's my name. That's who I am. That's the essence of me. That's what my mum called me because she was like, hey, that's Nicholas. Um, so I've started owning that. So yeah, when you become vulnerable, I would say it is challenging in this society because I don't know, we kind of pick on the vulnerable a bit. I think. Look at the way the world works. It's not nice what's happening to a lot of vulnerable people. But I noticed that when I truly became vulnerable, yes, it was challenging, and I probably went through some of the most difficult times in my life. But on the other end, guess what happens? I actually, it was 2 days ago, I was like, holy crap, I'm invincible. Because I've become so vulnerable, and everything that could have ever happened to me, um, you know, throughout our lives, but once you let down that wall, okay, whatever, you can bring on attacks or whatever, and you're just like, meh. You get to that point where you're so vulnerable that you're like, I can't, there's nothing that can get through to me anymore because I just am who I am. So what are some things that you can do to make you vulnerable? You could go on Facebook Live and just talk. And, you know, every now and then I think my first Facebook Live or one of my first videos, someone commented saying, you're an idiot or something like that. So I could have stopped then and said, oh, well, that person's right. Because I was becoming vulnerable, I wanted to share what I thought was important. You could start a blog. You could, here's something if you really want to become vulnerable. Write your feelings in a card to somebody, friend, lover, whatever, family member, who knows, someone that you haven't felt like you'd maybe expressed your message to, and you wanted to really make sure that they understood how you felt. Write a letter and send it. Okay, and then that moment that you put it in the post box, you'll be like, how do I get into that post box and get that letter out? Because I have literally just opened my heart. Okay, and we need to open our hearts to this world. Like, God, if everyone was just open to each other, and truthful and just so present with each other, this world would be such a different place. So yeah, try sending a letter, and then as soon as it's in that letterbox and you realize you can't get it out, you'll probably go home and curl into a ball and going, why did I just do that? But that's being vulnerable. It's being like I've shared myself with somebody. What else can you do? Yeah, you can speak in person to people, phone, text, email. You can just go into nature and just lie and just go, okay, I'm vulnerable. Give me what I need to know, or take what doesn't need to be here anymore. I really like Claricalm essential oil. It would probably be the other way around because I'm on this video. Claricalm is the oil of vulnerability. So yeah, or if you're in America, I think it's Solace maybe. Oh no, it's Claricalm over in America too. Yeah, what else can you do to become vulnerable? I don't know, just be who you are, and just, you know, when someone reacts in a certain way or doesn't like you or doesn't appreciate who you are, doesn't mean you need to put up a wall, or doesn't get you. I think that's probably a better word. I've always felt like a lot of people didn't get me, so I tried to protect myself so that I could maybe fit in more, because, you know, it's challenging if you don't feel like you fit in, then you feel like you're alone, I guess, but you're not really alone. You just kind of create that story. So yeah, if you can be vulnerable, it is bloody amazing when you truly do just... Oh, I think I'm back. It cut out. Truly, this is me. This is the rawest version of me. Take it, leave it, but that's who I am. And I think that once I did a video about how once you can be vulnerable, then you can be in true strength, because you're just who you are. And I think until you become that vulnerable person, yes, we can put up barriers and we can become strong, but there's a weakness in that strength. Whereas if you become vulnerable first, show, I guess, your weakness, show your complete and utter surrender and vulnerability to the world, then you can rise up into strength that is completely invincible. That's just my theory. I kind of think it is important that we go down this path of vulnerability, because I think it's time. I think it's time we just surrender ourselves and just, I don't know, it seems like you look at everybody and there's all these kind of surface friendships, relationships where people are you can see people kind of talking to each other, but they're not actually expressing who they really are. And they're afraid. They're so afraid. I was afraid. And it's because, as I said, we've had experiences of maybe backstabbing. We've had experiences of people laughing at us, not getting at us, maybe looking at us strange, being scared of us, maybe. I have no idea. But we have all these experiences, and then we just decide, all right, well, it's too hard to be who I really am, so I'm just going to be the fake Nick instead of, I can be Nick rather than Nicholas. So Nick, the guy that was, worked for pub crawls, was really good at sales, was a sales manager, made lots of money. I could be that person, and that could be who I am. Or I can be the real Nick, who's an empathetic person who really cares about the world and feels a lot and wants to make change, and is not afraid to express his emotions and show his love to people, even if they're not wanting to feel it. That's who I am. That's who I want to be. I want to show people that I love them, and I want to show people that there's joy in this world, and they can have it inside themselves. And yeah, that's who I am. That the rest of it, that's not me. Like, I don't really care about status. I care about just being me. And if I can be me in every moment of me, then I don't need to hide from myself. I don't need to, I'm very transparent, and that's just, you get what you get when you're with Nick, or when you're with Nicholas. You get what you get every single time, whether it be just walking down the street and I see somebody, or I might just give them a smile, or when I'm in a deep relationship with someone, you get what you get every single time. So that's my little rant this morning on vulnerability. I've been through a very great experience of, especially last couple of, probably since Father's Day this year. I grew up without a dad, and I don't want to cry, but I guess that's becoming vulnerable. I'll do another video on that. That experience, that triggered something in me that made me truly vulnerable, because I realized I'd put up this wall to be a man from a very young age, but I didn't actually get to experience being a boy, and that playful Nicholas who loves joy and connecting with people. For a very young age, I put up this strong wall to protect me, because I got hurt when that happened, and I didn't want to feel that hurt. You can see that my eyes are starting to water a little bit. I didn't want to feel that hurt at such a young age, so I blocked me. I blocked the essence of me, and I feel like there's a lot of us that have done that. So maybe you'll have that triggering moment, and then it'll spiral into more and more vulnerability. So I didn't stop there. I went through the whole thing, and it was a journey and a half, let me tell you that. But I don't have any barriers up. And just saying that you're not like this full-on robot all the time. Like, I have let down a lot of barriers. A lot of us have done a lot of personal development work. So we have to give ourselves a lot of praise and gratitude, and love ourselves for how far we've come. We've done the best that we possibly can. That's the best bit. We've tried our best and we've gone for it. But I guess what's happening for me, I'm frozen on screen. If I'm frozen, you just get to hear my voice instead of seeing the movements. So if you become fully, what's happening is moments are triggering us at this time in society that are fully making us vulnerable. So we might have become like 60% vulnerable, or 90% vulnerable, or 95% vulnerable, but we left that little wall of I'll just keep this little wall here. You know, it's only a thin wall, but I'll keep it here to protect me, and that's disappearing. And when you come out that other side, if you be brave, go for it. Your life will change. All right, and as I said, 2 days ago, I had a moment of I'm invincible. This is the best. I've fully let down my wall. Then yesterday, I realized I hadn't, and I was trying to protect myself again. So I'm letting it down even more. And if more we continue to just say, "Hey, this is who I am," you'll get all the people that you need in your life. People will go, "Wow, that's the person for me," or "That's that friend I need," or "That's the person I want to do business with." Yeah. So awesome. Be vulnerable. I really like this essential oil, and I love essential oils because they're so powerful in the way the way they transform who you are on a deep level. So if you want to learn more about that, that's been a big part of my journey, and that's why I like sharing it, because it's affected me more than I thought. You know, 32-year-old man talking about essential oils and his essential oil business. I didn't think that would ever happen, but I followed my heart, and it led me to here today. So thank you very much for listening, all of you who came on, and I will talk soon.